Whalley Range, welcome to the fantastic Mr. Brian Clarke.
Well, hello, Whalley Range. I wanted to say that so I could pretend I'm on a national tour. I usually do this kind of stuff with a partner. We're in a double act called a Shambolics. But Sham can't be here tonight, so tonight is going to be just me. It's been really good being part of this club because you meet so many interesting academics doing original research. It's people working in cosmology, in material science, in cyber security. There's one guy who is developing a machine that can extract moisture from the air so they can irrigate the desert and create drinking water for people. No, sorry, that's Luke Skywalker, isn't it? Sorry. My research area is comic books. You won't believe how often I don't hear that sound. In particular, I'm looking at how classic novels have been adapted to the comic strip format. Now that's so easy to say, it's just 10 words. But when I did my proposal, they wanted 1,500 words, just to say the same thing. So you end up saying things like, I contextualise the socio-cultural micro-history of mid-American society through a panological consideration of dialogue and action in sequential art narrative, and consumption patterns of mass-market popular culture actors with pictures. And when people hear that I'm doing research in comics, they say, oh, have you met Stan Lee? I say I have. How many people here know who Stan Lee is? They created the architect of the Marvel Universe in the 60s. And I was at the San Diego Comic Book Convention. I've worked in comic books for about 30 years. I was over there as a guest. And one lunchtime I was going back to the convention centre, I had my badge on, and just coming in the same direction was Stan the Man Lee. I thought, oh, I've got my guest badge, I can go over, I can chat with Stan. Hello Stan, he said hello. We chatted about British comics and having a great time, just as we reached the security barrier, where I showed my card and walked through, turned round to carry on talking to Stan, and he wasn't there. He'd been stopped by the security guard because he wasn't wearing his badge. And that is the best time of my life. Because I was allowed into the San Diego Comic Book Convention and Stan Lee was stopped at the door. Has anyone heard of Jack Kirby? Yeah. Jack Kirby, co-creator of Captain America, Fantastic Four, X-Men. He's known as Jack the King Kirby. An absolute legend. And I met him at the comic book convention. And I went over to shake his hand, but as I reached out, his wife, Roz, stopped me. She said, Jack appreciates all this, but he can't shake hands because there's thousands of people here. By Monday morning, his hand would hurt so much that he wouldn't be able to carry on drawing. I thought, no, that's fine. And I thought, Jack Kirby owes me a favour. Now, what I should say is I was working for a company called London Editions, who were part of Egmont, a pan-European group who had comic book companies all over Europe. France, Denmark, Germany. And in Germany, the company who produced their comic books was called A. Harper. And their comic books and albums were absolutely beautiful. So much craftsmanship went into their production, their print, the artwork was fantastic. The problem was, the A. Harper boys knew this. And they strutted around going, oh, are you working on the British comics? Are you doing the Eine Kleine Pony? I said, yes, I am doing My Little Pony, thank you very much. Yes. Goes, oh, and how are the little ponies? Are they having an exciting time? And they just keep picking on me like that. And that's when I remembered that Jack Kirby owed me a favour. So I went over to Jack. I said, Jack, could you do me a favour? He said, well, who are you? I said, we spoke about 4 hours ago. Oh, right. What favour? I said, I'm having problems with the A. Harper boys. He said, who are the A. Harper boys? I said, from Germany. They keep picking on me. They're mocking my comics, Jack. Can you just, like, pretend you know me? And I took a piece of paper out of my pocket and said to Jack, could you just, like, mention a few things on this list to me? He said, well, I can't do that. I said, police, Jack! Police! It's the A. Harper boys! They're mocking My Little Pony. They're mocking Mr. Men. What's next? Postman Pat. He did back away a little. And Ross stood in front of him. And he said, well, I'll see what I can do. It just so happened, half an hour later, the A. Harper boys had cornered me again to go, oh, your little ponies. Is it going to the rain when they have a birthday party? Right. So, will they have problems in the apple orchard? And maybe the stone bridge will get washed away in Pony Meadow. I thought, keep talking, and there's a good plot here. Just then, they stopped mocking me, and they started to nudge. Jack Kirby. And Jack Kirby was coming towards us. It is the great Jack Kirby. King Kirby. And he came closer. Said, he might talk to us. And Jack Kirby came up to me and said, Brian Clarke, the writer of Master of the Universe, My Little Pony, said, I love what you do with myth. And I turned to Jack and said, Jack, I've told you I'm busy, fuck off. So all that stuff I told you about recontextualising comics, well, I'm not doing that anymore. Because you write your proposal when you know the least about your subject matter. And since then I've been doing some research. It's what my supervisor expects. And I began to look at illustrated novels of the late 19th century, and some of these would have 100, 200, 300 illustrations per novel. And my expectation was that the education system must have loved that, because it's going to bring in lots of new readers. It's going to open up the world of literature to so many people. There was one edition, Mysteries of Paris, where the publisher had a text-only edition and one with pictures. And the one with pictures outsold the other one 5 to 1. I thought, that's going to bring in so many readers. But when I read around it, the intellectuals, aka the French, they lost their shit over this. They didn't want all these people reading their books. What they said, and I quote, it's going to introduce the wrong people to sophisticated thoughts. It's going to encourage ideas above their station. So when comic books began to adapt classic novels, they had the same problems, but there was also a great fear in America of the impact of mass culture. And they were already scared of film, radio, records, pulp magazines, all these other uncontrollable sources of influence on the public mind. And comic books came straight into that. And when I was looking at this, and I thought, well, if comics are going to encourage people to have sophisticated thoughts and ideas above their station, I thought, well, bring it on. I'm all behind that. So, comic books can, and pun is intended here, can literally change the world. Thank you.